Every day, I wrestle with fear. And after building a $10,000 a month business through this battle, there's a few things that I've learned. If you've ever been afraid to fail, you're not alone, but you're not stuck either. And today, I'm gonna show you the system that I've built to keep moving forward so that you can apply it to your life too. Whether it's starting a business, the fear of failure, facing financial insecurity, or worried about judgment, I get it. I've been there. And honestly, I'm still there every single day. However, learning to not let fear paralyze you is one of the biggest keys to succeed in any area of your life. Otherwise, you'll stay stuck in the same rat race, in the same routine for the rest of your life, letting your dreams stay that. Dreams. Here are the lessons that I've learned and how I push through fear and keep operating regardless of whether it comes back or not. It is said that 85% that all that you worry about actually never happens, and we've been dealing with fear as a species since the moment that we first walked on this earth. A famous quote from 500 years ago goes, "My life has been filled with terrible misfortune, most of which never happened." Bringing it back to modern times, we still operate in the same way, overthinking about absolutely everything. When I first started my business, I had no income, no connections, and no clue on how to build a business. I was terrified of failing, of wasting my life away, of looking foolish in front of others, and especially letting my family down. I would overthink everything. I had anxiety and I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders. But here's what I learned. Understanding fear was the key to overcoming it. Fear actually loves to thrive in the unknown. Your brain is naturally wired to predict the worst case scenarios because it is trying to protect you and it is trying to be ready for survival. However, what your brain tells you could go wrong is many times not reality. Recognize that your brain is simply doing its job properly and you do not need to believe 100% of the things that you think. But can fear be overcome? Well, let me tell you how I understand fear from a supernatural perspective. And look, I'm not a religious person at all, but here's where spirituality actually comes in for me. One of the biggest breakthroughs for me was understanding the difference between the brain and the heart. Every human has two sides, and for simple terms, we're gonna call them light and dark. The brain creates fear as it is always looking for problems to solve. It is operating in survival mode. Therefore, it operates in a fear-driven mechanism. But your heart, that's where your essence lives. Your heart doesn't judge you or feed you fear or tell you that you're worthless. This is where inspiration is born, where you find meaning in your work, the core essence of who you are, if you will. And now that you know this, recognize that you have two options. Let fear control you or use it as a signal to take charge and let your heart fuel your action. So every time fear creeps in, actually ask yourself, am I listening to my brain or my heart? And then act on whatever that fear is trying to stop you from doing, even if it's a small step. This can be making a single cold call, reaching out to a new leader, getting one part of a project done. You see, action quiets fear. Consistency will build upon your momentum, which is almost like an impenetrable wall against fear. And to further explain this, let me tell you this analogy that I actually like to think about. Imagine every action, no matter how small, means you are laying a brick. Every time you show up, every time you read a page of a book, every time you listen to a new audiobook or even a podcast that nurtures you, you're adding a brick to the foundation of your future empire. When I was building my business, there were days I didn't feel like I was making any progress, building skills that were seemingly not connected, and burning out due to working out of fear of being scared of losing a client. I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I kept reminding myself, one brick at a time. And over time, those bricks will add up and you start to see the bigger picture. And it's okay if you don't see that yet. Fear hates action, and every small step that you take will chip away at it. This is why consistency matters so much, and every successful person will swear by it. Even when fear doesn't disappear, those small wins will build your momentum and therefore your confidence. But all of this can be meaningless faced with the biggest fear of them all. The fear that most people have, which can make your previous efforts crumble down. And this is a fear that a lot of people struggle with, including me. And that's the fear of judgment. I used to overthink what others would say about my choices. My brother, my parents, my friends especially, and of course, random people online. But then I realized, nobody that's walked in your shoes will ever judge your journey or shit on you at all, because they actually understand what you're going through. They actually understand the effort that you're putting and the commitment you have that most don't see. Judgment always comes from the people who aren't where you are, the people doing less than you, the people who are not focused enough on their life so they actually have time to be focused on yours. But what about financial insecurity? Yes, it's real, but guess what? Even if you hit 10K a month, people still worry about it. Our culture revolves around money and has taught us that it is scarce, and naturally, you're scared of running out. But listening to people on YouTube that have actually walked my path and actually gone much further, the fear of losing it all is always present. even with hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank. But understand that it is your brain trying to come up with a fake reality or a worst case scenario. It is simply not real. Look, more often than not, you're gonna have to take action with fear being present. It is simply in your nature. Here's a curveball. Now I see fear as a positive. If starting a new project, making a new video, or reaching out to the next big company that I want to work with, if it doesn't scare me a little, it's probably not a good thing or not good enough. Fear is now my indicator that whatever I'm contemplating is probably worth reaching for. Look, fear's not gonna go away, and don't aim to get rid of it. You'll only get caught up in it more. And if you still don't understand the power that fear can have over your life, check out this video next and learn how fear could be keeping you back from your financial dreams.